January we spent 10 days in Devon in a camper van. In this video we're describing some of the best things that we did, giving you an idea of what you could expect and hopefully passing on some useful information. We travelled in a kind of loop, staying in South Molton, Oakhampton, Plymouth and Dawlish. We have sections on the places we most enjoyed, working in an anti-clockwise order from the northeast. They are Lynmouth, Lynton and Valley of the Rocks, Exmoor and Dunkery Beacon, Watersmeet, Ilfracombe Torrs Walk, Hartland Quay and Spekes Mouth Waterfall, Lydford Gorge, Dartmoor and its ponies, Wistman's Wood, Bolt Head near Salome, Dawlish Warren and Dawlish. As the kids say, let's dive in.
Hello, we are Dave and Kim, a married couple from North Yorkshire in the UK. We left our jobs to focus on what we love, exploring nature and the globe through hiking, biking and travel. As Adventurous Wallrus, we share videos about places we've been and the experiences we've had to inform and inspire your travel. Our first adventure was starting in Lynmouth and heading up to the dramatic cliffs and the Valley of the Rocks. Being January, it was easy for us to park, but it was still expensive at £1.30 an hour. Lynmouth's a small place, but it's certainly charming. We had been thinking to take the cliff lift to avoid climbing up to Lynton, but it was closed, so we walked up the switchbacks, climbing nearly 500 feet to the cliff path. This little guy followed us for some of the way. The path opens out onto the cliff. It's tarmac and wide, and while there are steep drops, it should be manageable unless you are especially nervous of heights. The rock formations on the left get more and more impressive. As we rounded the final bend of the coast path, we could see back down the Valley of the Rocks. We climbed one of the rock outcrops for some great views back down the valley and into Lee Bay beyond. A shorter walk would be to walk back up the valley to Lynton, then Lynmouth, but we elected to walk along the road past Lee Abbey and up onto the hillside, returning that way. As the path climbed fairly steeply, we could see much further along the coastline. The path continued alongside the valley and then down into Lynton, from where it was a simple return to Lynmouth, the way we had come up. Overall, this was a fantastic walk with great variety and some really unique features. I've linked our route and some similar routes below. On our visit to Exmoor to walk up Dunkery Beacon, we had to contend with some weather complications. We managed to find a small group of ponies and took a few quick photos before heading to walk up the beacon. There are many walks in this area, including some long challenging ones, but we had planned to walk one of the shortest, and in the end just made the 1.2 kilometre direct descent to the top. We started out with minimal snow and reasonable visibility, but as we walked up the modest incline, the snow increased only a little, but the visibility deteriorated massively, reinforcing that the beacon is the highest point in southern England outside of Exmoor at 1,703 feet. Me is Dunkery Beacon, one of the highest points on Exmoor, and you can have wonderful views from here. Normally on a clear day, but that certainly isn't a clear day today, and that's the view we've got in every direction, just so plain white out. So not so much to see, but enjoyable walk up nevertheless. We'll be heading back down pretty quickly in this weather. And indeed, we returned to the van and headed back before the fog came any lower. We had a short visit to Watersmeet, which is a river gorge and ancient woodland not far from Lynmouth on the A39 owned by the National Trust. On the day we went, the A39 was closed following a storm, so we walked half a mile or so down the road to get there. It's in the name, but there are two rivers joining here, one of which has a fairly impressive waterfall. There's a National Trust tea room which was also closed. There are several paths marked, although some of these were closed too. It's also possible to do longer walks, including a loop along the cliff top by Canterbury to Lynmouth and back along the river. Despite all these closures, we could still enjoy the area for a short while, and there are a few others around, but probably better enjoyed at a different time of year. I can imagine autumn would be lovely here. Late one afternoon, we visited Ilfracombe and walked the National Trust managed Ilfracombe Torrs walk. There are longer walks along the southwest coastal paths to Quay Martin in one direction and Wallrus in the other, but this short, well-marked circular walk gives you a flavour of the fabulous coastline. There's a free National Trust car park from where you can walk up to the cliff top, then down a zigzag path. We took a detour down to a rocky beach. The full trail, not including the detour, is only a mile or so this is a walk that can be easily added to the start or end of your day. Hartland Quay is 3 miles south of Hartland Point on this spectacular section of coast which runs from Devon into Cornwall. This short walk runs south from Hartland Quay, but you should not miss the fabulous views to the north. The path to the waterfalls is self-evident along the cliff top. That's St Catherine's Tor straight ahead. There is then a small waterfall and some optional hills to climb, which we could not resist. And they offer a great spot to sit and admire the view. The footpath is well marked, passes around the base of St Catherine's Tor, and has just one or two slightly steeper sections, so suitable for all. Waterfall itself is 48 metres high in total and can be viewed from different levels. You can access the beach here as well, although we did not go down. On the way back you can see Lundy Island. We had parked our van at the top of the hill initially, but moved it down right onto the seafront where we had a coffee in the Hartland Quay Hotel. Better though in the summer would be the large parking area before you get down to the seafront. We enjoyed the rest of the sunset and took some photos of this fabulous coastline. We visited Lydford Gorge near Tavistock and started out on the short walk to White Lady Waterfall. There's a second entrance to the gorge at Devil's Cauldron, about a mile away, but this is closed in winter. The woodland walk took us down to a small river. Shortly afterwards, we arrived at a suspension bridge, where we found the waterfall, which is about 30 metres high. We could enjoy the waterfall, of course, but if you have the choice, probably better to come after March the 1st, when the Devil's Cauldron is also open. After taking our photographs, we walked back up and returned to the car park via a higher path where there is a bird hide, where we stayed for a few minutes and were entertained by a blue tit and a great tit. An enjoyable short walk, even with the Devil's Cauldron closed.
So we're up on Dartmoor, just come up from Tavistock, and we're climbing this tor you can see behind, and what we've actually come from is a car park in the background there, which you'll be able to see, and there are quite a lot of the Dartmoor ponies which are around there.
The Dartmoor ponies were a lot easier to find than the Exmoor ones. The car park is Pork Hill Car Park, which is just 3 miles from the centre of Tavistock along the B3357. The Tor is Cox Tor, and it's just 1 kilometre and about a 100-metre climb to the top. It was hazy when we went, but on a clear day there would be views back towards Cornwall. The ponies are great and do not seem to mind people, but it is advised not to get too close. We did stop back to have a cup of tea with them the following morning on our way to Wistman's Wood. Wistman's Wood is a site of special scientific interest located on Dartmoor, not far from Princetown and the now closed Dartmoor prison. It's a last remaining example of Britain's temperate rainforests, and it's certainly an unusual and quite beautiful place. There is a modest amount of parking opposite the Two Bridges Hotel. From there, it is a flat 2-kilometre walk across open moorland with pleasant views to the wood. When you get there, there's a sign that you should not enter the wood but rather walk around the outside to protect the rare species. It's possible to circumnavigate the main part of the wood in around 30 minutes, and the total area of woodland in around an hour. The return is via a path next to the stream. It's also possible to make a longer circular walk, which I've linked in the description below, but we decided to return the way we had come after taking a few photos which attempted to capture some of the atmosphere of the wood on our January day. We walked along the southwest coastal path from Salome to Bolt Head in late afternoon. The car park indicated on the All Trails route is now private, so we used a road near the National Trust property of Overbeck's Garden. There is some paid parking at the garden and also guidance on other parkings in their fact sheet, which I have linked below. This walk follows some dramatic, jagged cliffs which rise well above the path itself. The All Trails route I've posted does not actually go to Bolt Head, which is the second headland you get to along Starehole Bay. We headed for that one, stopping briefly to admire the views to the east. Continuing around the headland, you could see further to the west and watch the setting sun. We could also see cattle grazing at the top of the cliff. We were thinking of staying for the sunset, but the cattle started heading in our direction and we were getting a closer view than we had intended. So we decided to head back along the route we had come, with views back to Salome walking in this direction. Alternatively, you could follow the All Trail circular route back, which is slightly more inland. All in all, a lovely short walk, which can be made as long as you like by going further along the coastal path. During our stay at Cofton Holiday Park, we walked down to Dawlish Warren and then along the front to Dawlish itself. Parking at the Warren, then it's a total of 6 miles to walk to the end of the beach into Dawlish and then back. There's a fabulous enormous beach with great views of Exmoor, which had just a few people walking their dogs along it when we were there. You can walk some of the way along the dunes, but then you have to walk along the beach before you can rejoin the dune path. From the top of the dunes you can see the National Nature Reserve, but we did not see so many birds, just some lapwing and an egret. The walk to Dawlish is sandwiched between the sea on one side and the main west coast line on the other, with enough trains to be interesting but not so many to be a nuisance. We did not stay long in Dawlish, but the centre is built around a lovely green space called Dawlish Lawn. But we could not miss the black swans that the town is famous for. We took a few photos and videos before heading back to the campsite.
I hope you enjoyed the video and found something interesting and or useful. If you did, please do like and subscribe for more content and, to be honest, to give us a bit of encouragement. If you have any questions of detail, please ask them in the comments and we'll get back to you. Until the next time, goodbye.